नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। So today we will start from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 12th chapter, text number 20, 21st and 27th. We will recite after the original recitation. Maitreya Uvacha. That is not only recitation. Maitreya Uvacha Ilvātvabhuvādishthah Parikramya giram patim Bāshamithya Videshatatasevanam. Translation. Shri Maitreya says, thus Rudra, having been ordered by Brahma, Sakti men related to his father, the master of the Vedas. Addressing him with words of assent, he entered the forest to perform a sweet meditation. Text 21. Athavidhyayatah sargam dashaputrah prajagire bhagavat shakti yuktasya lokasantananetalah. Brahma, who was empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thought of generating living entities and begot animals for the extension of the generations. Text 22. Marishiratyam virasau Marishiratyam virasau Pulasyah pulahah kratuhu Pulasyah pulahah kratuhu Bhrigurvatishto dakshascha Bhrigurvatishto dakshascha Dashamatatra Naradaha Marishiratyam virasau Pulasyah pulahah kratuhu Bhrigurvatishto dakshascha Dashamatatra Naradaha. And Natalie. Marichi, Atri, Angirasau, Pulasyaha, Pulahaha, Ratuhu, Riguhu, Vashishtaha, Kakshaha. These names of sons of Brahma, Cha and Dashamaha, the 10, Tatra, there, Naradaha, Narad. Transmission and Mantu from Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulasya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrigu, Vashishta, Daksha, and the 10th son, Narada, were thus born. Purpose. The whole process of the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation is meant to give the conditioned souls a chance to go back home back to Godhead. Brahma created Rudra to help him in his creative endeavor, but from the very beginning, Rudra began to devour the whole creation, and thus he had to be stopped from such devastating activities. Brahma therefore created another set of good children who were mostly in favor of worldly activities. He knew very well, however, that without devotional service to the Lord, there is hardly any benefit for the conditioned souls, and therefore he at last created his worthy son, Lord, who is the supreme spiritual master of all transcendental. Without devotional service to the Lord, one cannot make progress in any part of the activity, although the path of devotional service is always independent of any new reason. Only the transcendental loving service of the Lord can deliver the real goal of life, and thus the service rendered by Sriman Narad Muni is the highest among all the sons of Brahma. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupaha Namahyam Dalati Swarpadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Palam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamani Haripriye Vamcha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Paditana Mohamanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Radhari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. At the very outset of today's discourse, I would like to initially offer my most respectful concentrated reverses unto the lotus feet of Grand Divine Manjuba Lordships, Sri Sri Radha and Madan Mohan Dev, along with their eternal transcendental companions, such as Sri Lalitai, Sri Shadai, Sri Rupati Nanduri, etc. And along with them, I would also like to offer and submit my most respectfully and submissively concentrated homages unto the lotus feet of their divine transcendental lordships, Sri Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Sri Nityananda Prabhu, along with their divine tutelage, such as Sri Guru Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, and all the Goswamis of Sri Vrindavan. Finally, I would also like to pay my obeisances and due respects unto all the lotus feet of the His Divine Grace Anand Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada, who has very nicely propagated and has dispersed the doctrine of Krishna consciousness throughout this world in the present modern era in the most unique and fantastic unprecedented way. Concluding, I would also like to offer my respect and due honor to the obeisances unto the lotus feet of the initiating spiritual master and the Shiksha Gurus, the preceptorial spiritual masters, along with all the senior veteran devotees of the Lord present hearing. And thereafter, I will now like to comment the context of our today's discussion, especially the context in regards to the 22nd verse of the 12th chapter of the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is entitled as Creation of the Kumaras and Others. So, as you know, the title assigned to this canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is the status quo. The title that is assigned to this canto, the 3rd canto, the Tritiya Skandha, the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, is the title quo. And in this 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the process of primarily the process of initial creation and also the process of secondary creation, both of these have been described. The process of both the primary creation, the first creation, which is rather known as Sarga, and also the process of secondary, subsidiary creation, which is known as Visarga. Both of the processes of both types of creations have been described, have been depicted, have been vividly elaborated upon in this 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and especially in this 12th chapter, the process of Visarga, or the secondary creation by Lord Brahma, has been described. So, as His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada writes, in the very first line of his purport, that the whole process of creation, maintenance and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation is to give the conditioned souls a chance to go back home, back to Godhead. Because the anhidatory acts, the creative acts, and the acts of maintenance or sustenance in regards to this mundane world are all done under the direction, under the direct supervision of the personality of Godhead, known as Lord Mahavishnu or Karan Vishnu, the first Purush incarnation. Therefore, and because the supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Narayana, is the eternal well-wisher of all the living entities, as he has described in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, 29th verse, Bhoktanam yadyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhritam sarvabhutanam vyaptam shantim vrichatri. Bhoktanam yadyatapasam. The Lord says that, O Arjuna, I am the enjoyer, I am the only enjoyer, I am the greatest enjoyer of by me, are rather to be enjoyed by me. They are the objects of my enjoyment. They are to be enjoyed by me. I being the sole enjoyer of all what is present in both the spiritual and the material worlds. So Bhokta Yatapam, I am the greatest enjoyer of all sacrifices and of all penances and austerities and on. Bhokta Yatapam, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, and I am the greatest Lord, Master and Controller of all the planets, and thereby all the inhabitants reside within those planets. I am also the master of those inhabitants. I am not only the master of planets, but also included within the planets all the living beings who are residing in those planets. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, Suhritam Sarva Bhutanam, and just one who considers me to be the eternal well-wisher. Suhritam means just one who considers me to be the eternal well-wisher of all the created living beings. Sarva Bhutanam, Yatva Mam Shanti Prishati. Thus, one who knows and becomes acquainted with my transcendental nature attains the eternal everlasting peace. Param Shanti Prishati. So, from this statement of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we come to know, we come to understand how the Lord is the eternal well-wisher of all the living beings. And the Lord has also very clearly stated in Srimad Bhagavad Gita how His external potency is working under His direction when He says in the 7th chapter, Maya Yakshena Prakritihi Suryate Sacharacharam Hetunamena Kaunteya Jagat Viparivartate Maya Yakshena Prakritihi. This Trigunatmika Prakriti, this material nature or the external potency of mind consisting of the threefold mundane attributes of goodness, passion and endurance of sattva, raj and tam. This mundane potency is completely working under my guidance, my direction and my supervision. Maya Yakshena Prakriti Suryadesatarajanam, and working through my guidance and direction, it begets, it manifests both the animate and inanimate, both sentient and insentient, both movable and immovable, both the cognitive and incognitive items, both the conscious and dead items of this material world. Sunyati Sacharacharam, He Tunamena Kaunati Jagati Parivartate. So, and then also in Brahma Samhita, as we were also discussing yesterday, Lord Brahma states that Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha Chhaye Vajasya Bhavanani Vibharti Durga Ichhanu Rupamapi Yasya Cheshtate Sa Govindam Adi Purusham Tamhat Bhajami. That the external potency of the Lord is personified and presided over by and which is predominated by Goddess Durga. That external potency of the Lord performs all her activities, all her auxiliary activities upon knowing the wish and desire of the Lord. And then also it has been stated while Brahma is conversing with Narad Muni in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahma states that Vilajyamanayanayasyam Sadhu Ikshapathe Amuya Vikathanta Vimohante Mamahamidyurdiyaha. That external potency of the Lord, who is completely subordinate to the Lord, becomes very shy, feels very bashful, becomes very ashamed to go in front of the Lord, and therefore she always stays in the hind part, in the rear part of the Lord, never daring to come in the front. So, this external potency of the Lord, which has been stated as being working under the direction of the Lord, and the Lord Himself, under whose direction the external potency is working, that Lord Himself, because He is the eternal well-wisher of all the living entities, so He is Sarva Bhutanam. Therefore, it is stated here that the whole process of creation, maintenance and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation is meant to give the conditioned souls, it is meant to liberate them, it is meant to again make them return to the spiritual world, to back home, back to Godhead. Because Lord, who is known as Jagat Pita or Janardhan, Mata Bhata Pitamahana, Aham Sarvasya Prabho, Idam Sarvam Bijam Mata Bhata Pitamahana. Lord says in Bhagavad Gita that I am the supreme father of all the living beings. I am their mother, I am their father, I am also their grandfather. So, and because that Lord is the well-wisher, He is the eternal well-wisher of all the living beings. That is why the external potency working under His direction, who is creating, material world as an immediate cause, even that external potency, the only goal, the only sole objective, target and aim of even that external potency is to make the living entities who are rather averse to the personality of Godhead again become devoted to the lotus feet of that Godhead and make them return back to Godhead. So this is the purpose, this is the explanation of the first statement in the purpose stated by Srila Prabhupada. Then Srila Prabhupada writes that Brahma created Rudra to help him in his creative endeavor. But from the very beginning, Rudra began to devour the whole creation. So, what is Brahma's creative endeavor? In order to know this Brahma's creative endeavor, we have to become acquainted with the 10 symptoms or the 10 characteristics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, question arises, if in Brahma Samhita it has been stated that Goddess Durga is the instrumental in the performance of dissolution, sustenance and creation of this material world, then how it is considered that Brahma is the one who has created this material world? Normally, it is considered that Lord Brahma he creates, Lord Shiva in his expansion as Rudra he annihilates, and Lord Vishnu he sustains. But there in Brahma Samhita it is said by Brahma himself that Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha, that Goddess Durga is the instrumental in the performance of creation, dissolution and annihilation. So is it Goddess Durga who is creating the material world or is it Lord Brahma? Now the question arises. So the answer is given that Goddess Durga is just an instrumental cause. She is not efficient cause. Efficient cause is Brahma. It is Brahma who takes on the 16 elements of material nature, and that material nature in turn is presided over by Goddess Durga. The predominating deity of material nature, of external potency is Goddess Durga, and that material nature includes, first of all, the subtle matter, the mool prakriti, which is sometimes also known as asat. And then when asat or the unmanifest form of the material nature becomes manifest, then it turns into pradhan. And then pradhan or the primordial aggregate, it turns and transforms into mahatattva. Because at the time of dissolution or after the dissolution gets completed, and the whole material world becomes annihilated. At that time, all the three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion and ignorance, they are put into the state of equilibrium. Equilibrium means that all the three modes, sattva, raja and tam, they become manifest in the same proportionate amount. They become manifest in the same proportionate amount. It's not that one mode is heavier on top of another. As Lord Krishna states in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Rajas Samaschavi Bhuya Sattam Bhavati Bharata, that sometimes the mode of passion is influenced by the mode of ignorance, sometimes the mode of ignorance is influenced by the mode of goodness, or sometimes the mode of goodness is influenced by the passion or ignorance, vice versa. So all these influences only occur during the creation takes place. Once the creation is annihilated, once the whole material world is dissoluted, at that time all the three modes they stay in the state of equilibrium. That means all the three modes are manifest in the same proportionate amount. No question arises of one mode getting on top of another mode and influencing. But by the desire of Karandakshay Mahavishnu, the first Purusha incarnation, when Karandakshay Mahavishnu glances on the material nature, which is presided over by Goddess Durga, when Karandakshay Mahavishnu he glances, and he does not directly glance, he glances unto his eternal consort Lakshmi Devi, Rama Devi, the goddess of fortune, who is internal potency, who is not external potency. Goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, she is an eternal potency. And that's why in Brahma Samhita it has been stated that Mayaya Aramamanasya Navyoga Saha Atmana Ramaya Reme Tyaktakalam Sitrikshaya Mayaya Aramamanasya. The Lord, Karanadakshay Mahavishnu, the first Purush incarnation, he never directly enjoys with the external potency presided over by Goddess Durga. No. Mayaya Aramamanasya. He never directly enjoys. But it cannot be said that there is a total disconnection of relationship between Lord Karanadakshay Mahavishnu and Goddess Durga. It cannot also be said that they do not have relationship of any sort. They still have a relationship, even though the Lord doesn't have a direct relationship, he has an indirect relationship with Goddess Durga. That is why it cannot be said that they are disconnected from each other in totality. No. Na viyoga sayasa. Atmana ramaya rene yaktakalam trikshaya. What the Lord did, so what the Lord has done, he has put his glance on Ramadevi. And through his glance, when Lord looked at Ramadevi, when he put his glance on Ramadevi, within his glance were the living entities. So his glance appeared as a divine halo, as the divine effulgence. The glance of Karanadakshay Mahavishnu appears as a divine golden effulgence consisting of the sperms of living entities. And the sperms of living entities, which are comprising the glance of the Lord, they are put into Mahalakshmi, the goddess of fortune. And Mahalakshmi, the goddess of fortune, what she does is she transfers that glance of the Lord by absorbing that glance. By absorbing that glance, she transfers the glance of the Lord unto the external potency, Goddess Durga. And then Goddess Durga becomes impregnated with the living entities comprising the glance of the Lord. And then what happens? Tyaktakalam Sitrikshaya, as Brahma Samhita mentions, along with the living entities, Lord also invests his time energy, his time factor, Kala Shakti, his time factor into the womb of external potency, Goddess Durga. So not only the living entities, but also the time factor. So the time factor, which is known as Kala Shakti, which is also considered to be the 25th element of Sankhya. Sankhya Darshan, or the philosophy of Sankhya, the analytical study of the elements of this material world, that philosophy describes 25 elements. So the 25th element is Kala, or the time factor. So this time factor, which is the form of the Lord invests it also in the womb of the material nature. So when the time factor enters the material nature, at that time material nature becomes or undergoes a mutation. The material nature undergoes a mutation. And the mutation that occurs within the material nature is that the three modes of material nature, Sattva, Raja and Tama, which were rather present in a complete state of equilibrium, they rather become imbalanced. So the state of equilibrium is rather made turned into the state of imbalance. And when the material nature undergoes the state of imbalance, at that time the mode of passion becomes more influential on top of the modes of goodness and ignorance. And when the mode of passion, Rajoguna, becomes very influential on the other modes, at that time the creation of the material world, namely Sarga and Visarga, the primary creation and the secondary creations, they take place. This is how it happens. And that transcendental effulgence which comes out from the eyes, from the vision of Lord Mahavishnu, Tyaktakalam Trikshaya, that transcendental effulgence is also known as Lord Shambhu, Lord Shiva. Kallingam Bhagavan Shambhu Jyoti Rupa Sanatana. So, and then Lord Shiva, he has a physical intercourse with Goddess Durga. Ima Maheshwari Prajaha. Ima Maheshwari Prajaha. Then Lord Shiva has a physical intercourse with Goddess Durga. And then the 16 elements are made manifest by that intercourse. The 16 elements are made manifest, and along with the 16 elements, the living entities are also made manifest by that intercourse. So, Goddess Durga is just an instrumental in the sense that the material nature presided over by Goddess Durga just provides the 8 basic fundamental elements of creation, namely earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, and soul. And here it is described that 16 elements of creation are made manifest. So sometimes 8 elements are described and sometimes 16 elements. So when we talk more elaborately than 16 elements, and when we talk in short, in synopsis, in a gist form, there are only 8 elements. So, the 16 elements as described are, the first 5 are known as earth, water, fire, air, ether, and etc. The Panch Mahabhutas. And then there are 5 objects of senses known as Pancha Tanmatra, namely touch, sound, taste, smell, etc. And then 10, then there are 5 knowledge acquiring senses or Pancha Jnanendriyas, namely ear, nose, skin, tongue, eyes, etc. So these are the 5 knowledge acquiring senses, Pancha Jnanendriyas. And then the 16th element, the 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 objects of senses, and 5 elements, 15. And then 16th element is known as the mind. So these are the 16 elements which are created, which are rather made manifest by Goddess Durga upon being united with Lord Shiva, who becomes manifest from the glance of Lord Karanakshaya Mahavishnu. So using these 16 elements of creation, Brahma recreates. Brahma creates in a secondary way. The primal creator is Lord Mahavishnu. Because if Lord Mahavishnu would not have launched on Goddess Durga, then neither Lord Shambhu would have become manifest, and neither Goddess Durga would have become impregnated with the living entities and with the time factor, and neither Goddess Durga would have given birth to these 16 elements of creation. So, the original cause is Lord Karanakshaya Mahavishnu, and Goddess Durga is just providing the 16 elements of creation, and using those 16 elements of creation, Brahma again recreates this whole material world. He creates different planets found within this material world, like the 7 upward planets, Sapta Urdhva, 7 downward planets, and the centralmost region which is known as the Prithvi Lok or the Earth planet. And all these different planets are found within the material world are created by Lord Brahma, and all the 8,400,000 different types of gross bodies, the species which are found within this material world. Those gross bodies are also designed by Lord Brahma. The 8,400,000 different types of gross bodies which are found within this material world, they are also designed by Lord Brahma, and they are also made by Lord Brahma, using these 16 elements of creation. So, it has been described in Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 10th chapter, 1st verse. When Brahma tells and explains to his son Narada the process of creation, Brahma says that in Srimad Bhagavatam there are 10 themes which are highlighted. And those 10 themes are Srishti, Atra Sargo Visargascha. Sarga is also known as Pratham Srishti, and Visarga is known as Vidya Srishti. Atra Sargo Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Bhutayah Manvantaresha Katha Nirodho Muktirashrayah. In this Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10 themes or the 10 characteristics which are mentioned, which I'll explain, are: the first is Sarga, or the primary creation done by Lord Karanalakshmi Mahavishnu in the form of glancing. And then the secondary creation, which is known as Visarga. Then Sthanam. Sthanam means the status quo, which is the title for this third canto. The status quo. The status quo is known as Sthanam. Sthanam means the maintenance of the material world. Poshanam. Poshanam means graceful compassion on the living entities of this material world. Sthanam Poshanam. Utayaha. Utayaha means the creative impetus. Sthanam Poshanam Utayaha. Manvantara. Manvantara means the changing of 14 planets. Manvantara. Vishana means the science of God. Nirodha means deliverance of the living entities. Nirodha. Mukti means liberation, and Ashraya means the final and the last 10th item being mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Samabhanam or Shri Krishna, the source of everything. So these are the 10 symptoms mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, and right now the second symptom, Visarga, or the secondary creation, is being described here. Now, the question arises, what is the scriptural definition? What is the scriptural definition? What is the scriptural definition of Sarga and Visarga? So, in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is again explained that Bhuta Matrendriyadhyam Janma Sarga Udahritah Brahma Guna Vaishanyam Visarga Paunah Bhuta Matrendriyadhyam. Sarga is defined as the creation of bhuta, that means the 5 elements, the creation of 5 sense objects, touch, sound, smell, etc., and the creation of 5 senses, indriyas, and the creation of mind, which is known as dhi. Bhuta, matra, indriya and dhi. That means all the 16 elements. Bhuta, matra, indriya, dhyam, janma, sarga, udahrita. Shukdev Goswami explains to Parikshit that Sarga means the creation of the 5 bhutas, the 5 tanmatras, the 5 indriyas or the senses, and dhi, which means the mind. In together, the creation of these 16 elements is Sarga, and Brahmana Guna Vaishamya Visargaha Paurushaha Smritaha. And when Lord Brahmana means when Lord Brahma, who interacting with the 3 modes of material nature, when he makes manifest different planets and different types of bodies, bronze bodies found within this material world, using those 3 modes of material nature, that is known as, that endeavor of Lord Brahma, Paurushaha Smritaha. Paurush means endeavor. That endeavor, that creative endeavor of Lord Brahma is known as Visarga, Visargaha Paurushaha Smritaha. So here also Srila Prabhupada says that Brahma created Rudra to help him in his creative endeavor. This is the creative endeavor of Brahma. This is the creative endeavor. Now, the question arises that the creative endeavor of Lord Brahma, if Rudra or Lord Shiva, who is sometimes also known as Rudra, he is made manifest by Lord Brahma. When Lord Brahma first manifested Lord Rudra, and when Lord Brahma has first made manifest the 4 Kumaras, the 4 celibate Kumaras, and the 4 Kumaras known as Sanatan, Sanatan and the 7th Kumar. When these 4 Kumaras, they refused to assist Lord Brahma and to help Lord Brahma in the matter of creation, in the matter of secondary creation, Visarga. And when they denied very clearly the task of pro-generation, at that time, Lord Brahma, naturally being endowed and imbued and permeated with the mode of passion. Lord Brahma is permeated and imbued with the mode of passion. He is a Rajasic. Because he is the predominating deity of mode of passion, he is completely imbued with the mode of passion. And because he is completely imbued with the mode of passion, he tends to get angry. This is the difference between Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. When in the last chapters of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, when all the sages assembled, they sent Bhrigu on a mission, sage Bhrigu on a mission to test and to examine which of the three demigods, which of the three gods, which of the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, is the highest. At that time, Bhrigu has tested all the three, Brahma, Vishnu and Lord Shiva. And Bhrigu has found out that Lord Vishnu is endowed with Tamogun, the mode of ignorance, Brahma is endowed with the mode of passion, and Vishnu or Narayana is endowed with the mode of, is actually the predominating deity of mode of goodness, and he himself is completely on the platform of mode of pure goodness, Vishuddha Sattva. Not the material goodness, but the pure goodness, Vishuddha Sattva, which is transcendental to the three modes of material nature. The Lord Vasudeva or Vishnu or Narayan, he is on the level of the pure goodness, Vishuddha Sattva. Shuddham Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yat Puman Apakritam. In the Rudra Gita also, 4th canto, Lord Shiva praises Lord Vishnu in front of the Prachetas by saying that Lord Vishnu is completely on the level of transcendence. So that Lord Vishnu, who is completely transcendental to the three modes of material nature, but who is the predominating deity of mundane mode of goodness at the same time, that Lord Vishnu never tends to get angry. He is never prone towards anger. He is never prone towards anger. Because he neither has mundane goodness, mundane passion or mundane ignorance. Whereas Lord Brahma is completely permeated, on the other hand, Lord Brahma is completely permeated with the mode of passion. And because in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, Lord Krishna says that Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidhyena vibhairinam. From the rajoguna, from the mundane mode of passion do arise kama, lust, and from lust arises anger. So kama and krodha, lust, anger, both of them, they arise from the mode of passion. From the mode of passion directly arises kama or lust, or all the different sorts of material desires. And from these material desires, when these material desires are not fulfilled properly, then the mode of ignorance gets more influential, and mode of ignorance, tamogun, gives rise to anger. So, Brahma is Rajasic, he is Rajoguni, he is full of the mode of passion. And because he is full of the mode of passion, he has this natural creative impetus within his heart and mind, Utaya. One of the 10 symptoms of Srimad Bhagavatam is creative impetus. So Brahma is totally endowed with the creative impetus, with the task of progeneration. And because Brahma has a strong desire to create this material world in a manifold way, in a multifarious way. And because that desire of Lord Brahma was denied by the four Kumaras. You see, when kama or material desire is denied, then anger arises. So when the creative impetus manifesting from Lord Brahma's mind, and Lord Brahma being the predominating deity of the mode of passion. So when the mode of passion, kama or creative impetus arises, the material desires they arise. So when the creative impetus arising from Lord Brahma's mind was denied out and out by the four Kumaras, then Lord Brahma became angry. Then the mode of passion, which was found within the mind of Lord Brahma, transformed itself into the mode of ignorance. And from the mode of ignorance, from the anger, which is a symptom of mode of ignorance, lust or calm is the symptom of mode of passion, anger is the symptom of mode of ignorance. So, when desire was not fulfilled, the desire of Lord Brahma for creative impetus, when that was not fulfilled by the four Kumaras, Lord Brahma became angry. He was put into the mode of ignorance. And when Lord Brahma was influenced by the mode of ignorance, at that time, Rudra, who is the predominating deity of the mode of ignorance, he became manifest. This is how Rudra became manifest. Lord Brahma became so angry on the four Kumaras that his eyes were blazing red with anger. And at that time, Rudra has made himself manifest from the left eye, of Lord Brahma, which was full with anger, and which was completely tainted with redness of anger. So, after that, Lord Rudra has become manifest. Now, who is this Lord Rudra? This Lord Rudra is not the same as Shambhu. That Shambhu, that Lord Shiva who becomes manifest from the glance of Karanodakshaya Mahavishnu is not the same as this Rudra who becomes manifest from the anger of Lord Brahma. Different. This Rudra who becomes manifest from the anger of Lord Brahma is just a partial expansion of Lord Shambhu or Lord Shiva who becomes manifest from the glance of Lord Karanodakshaya Vishnu. So, from Lord Shiva expand 11 Rudras. And the chief of all the 11 Rudras is known as Neeladobhit. 11 Rudras have different 11 names. And the chief of all the Rudras is known as Neeladobhit. So this Neeladobhit Rudra, who is the chief of all the other Rudras, he has become manifest from the anger of Lord Brahma. He is actually expansion of Lord Shiva. This Rudra, all the Rudras, they are partial expansions of Lord Shiva who becomes manifest from Karanodakshaya Vishnu in turn. So, as it has been described here, Lord Shiva, he became manifest from, or the Lord Rudra, he became manifest from the anger of Lord Brahma. And because the specifically assigned duty of Rudra is to dissolute this material world, is to annihilate this material world, is to destroy this material world. That is why as soon as Lord Shiva, or Lord Shiva's expansion, Lord Rudra was manifest, he performed in many ways the task of dissolution, which in turn threatened Brahma. Because Brahma was about to create this material world, he was planning to create this material world in different ways. And at the time of creation, there arises no question for the necessity of the task of dissolution. And Brahma saw that this Rudra is rather trying to annihilate this world. So, Lord Brahma has stopped Rudra by saying that please do not create such demonic creatures from your personality who will destroy this mundane world, because the proper time for the age is to create. The destruction is not the proper time for this age. The time of annihilation will come after some time. Currently the time of creation is going on. The Srishti Samay, the Srishti Kal is going on. So do not try to destroy this material world. So after that incident, Lord Brahma has made manifest the 10 Prajapatis, actually the 9 Prajapatis. Prajapatis are only 9 in number, but here it is said that 10 children are born from Brahma's will. So, Narada is not one of the Prajapatis. Why? Because Narada is following the same path of the 4 Kumaras. The 4 Kumaras, they deny that we will not take part in the process of creation. Rather, we will not take part on this path of attachment, pravritti marg. Rather, we will take part on the path of detachment, nivritti marg. So, the 4 Kumaras undertook the great vow of celibacy in order to realize the absolute truth. So also Lord Brahma, he also out and out utterly rejected the proposal of his father Lord Brahma for creation, and he also undertook the vow of celibacy and austerity. So Lord Brahma again became angry on Brahma, on Narada, and he has cursed Narada. And then Narada has also cursed Brahma. This incident is also mentioned in Brahma Vaivarta Purana. So Narada is not one of the 9 Prajapatis. Prajapati means the master of the pro-generated living beings. The master of the pro-generated living beings are only 9 in number, beginning from Marichi down to Daksha. Daksha is the 9th and the last Prajapati. Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulasya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhigu, Vasisht and Daksha. These are the 9 Prajapatis. These are the 9 children of Brahma. These are the 9 sons of Brahma who have expanded the act of pro-generation by undertaking the path of attachment, pravritti marga. And Narada, who undertook the path of detachment, nivritti marga, is not considered one of the 9 Prajapatis. And it seems from the description of this verse, the order that is given here in this verse, that the last son was Brahma, because it is said Dashamah Tatra Narada, the 10th son was Brahma. Dashamah Tatra Narada means the 10th son was Brahma, but actually the Acharyas like Jiva Goswami, Sanatana Goswami and Sridhar Swami, while commenting on this verse of Bhagavatam, they have said that Narada has become manifest before the 9 Prajapatis. But it is just one way of mentioning here. It is just one way of counting. It doesn't, this sequence, this chronological order mentioned in this 22nd verse doesn't mention the periodical sequence or the sequence who came first and who came after. The periodical sequence is not mentioned here, only the numerical sequence is mentioned. This is what the Acharyas have commented. This sequence that puts Narada as the 10th child of Brahma, this sequence is only a numerical sequence. Only in counting we considered last year, only in the matter of counting. But historical periodical sequence, Narada is first and then the other 9 Prajapatis. That is how they become made manifest. So this is the import of this verse. And because we are reaching the time limit, so we will conclude the class here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Follow Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srimad Bhagavatam morning class ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nithai Gaur Premanande, Hri Hri Bol. Any question? What happens? Yeah.
Does it mean that Shambhu comes from Adil Rama?
No, that's what I'm going to explain. I understood what you're saying. What happens is when the glance is put forth onto Rama Devi, at that time the glance is still in its impersonal form. The glance is still in its impersonal form. But as soon as Rama Devi or Lakshmi Devi, she transfers Lord's glance to Goddess Durga, then the glance becomes manifest into the personal form of Lord Shambhu. That means that when Lord Vishnu glances on Lakshmi, at that time the glance just appears in a form of effulgence or halo. This is how it is described in Brahma. The glance is just appearing in the form of a light. When it is perceived by Goddess of Fortune Lakshmi Devi, the glance is just perceived as a light. But when Lakshmi Devi transfers that glance unto the Goddess of Durga, as soon as she transfers the glance into Goddess Durga, by the desire of the Lord, the glance becomes manifest into personal form of Lord Shiva or Shambhu. So, Lord Shambhu doesn't come in contact with Rama Devi. He comes into contact with Goddess Durga because when Rama Devi sees the glance, he only sees the effulgence part of the glance. And when she transfers that glance unto Goddess Durga, then the glance turns into Lord Shiva, not before that. That is how it has been described. Is it clear? Okay. Yeah, you see, Lord Shiva doesn't become manifest at first instance. At first instance, only impersonal glance is there, in a form of a light. That is known as the divine halo. As Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur puts it in his translation, that is known as divine halo. And Goddess Durga, Goddess of Fortune Lakshmi Devi, she just sees the light only. And she also absorbs the light, the glance in the form of light. But when she transfers that glance unto Goddess Durga, then the glance turns into the personal form of Lord Shiva or Shambhu, not before that. So there is no question that Lord Shiva can come into contact with Goddess of Lakshmi, Goddess of Fortune Lakshmi Devi. He only comes into contact with Goddess of Durga, Goddess of material nature Durga Devi. because he is created afterwards, not before. He is made manifest afterwards, not before. Yes. 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 Yeah, so the first question is that sometimes when Lord Krishna, or Lord Narayana, when he assumes the post of Brahma, then what becomes his relation with the mode of passion at that time? So the answer is given even by Rupa Goswami in his Laghu Bhagavatamritam by quoting many different parts of the scriptures, that when Lord Narayana sometimes assumes the post of Brahma, at that time he just presides over the mode of passion. He doesn't become influenced by the mode of passion. Now the difference between Jiva Brahma, or the Brahma who is or when a living entity becomes Brahma, the difference between that type of Brahma and the difference between that type of Brahma with when Lord himself becomes Brahma. The difference is that when Lord himself becomes Brahma, he just presides over the mode of passion. He just controls the mode of passion, being the predominating deity of the mode of passion. He never becomes influenced by the mode of passion. But when Jiva Brahma, when a living entity becomes Brahma, at that time he presides over the mode of passion, and at the same time he also becomes influenced by the mode of passion. These are two different things. To preside over something means to control and to become influenced. So this Brahma, he is the predominating deity of Rajogun, but at the same time he also becomes influenced by the mode of passion. The mode of passion touches this Brahma because he is after all a living entity. But when Narayana becomes Brahma, the mode of passion never touches him. Rather, Narayana just stays as the presiding deity of that mode of passion. It doesn't influence him. That's the first difference. And the second question asked, I forgot. Yes, Ishanukatha. So the second question asked was, what is the difference between Ishanukatha and the Ashraya Tattva? So Ishanukatha has been described as the description of the various incarnations of Lord. In Srimad Bhagavatam especially, the various different incarnations of Lord are mentioned, like the incarnation of Lord Ramachandra, incarnation of Varahadev, Matsyadev, Narasimhadev, Kurmadev, etc. All these Leelavaras, all these pastimes incarnations, and their descriptions and their detailed accounts of those incarnations have all been mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. So all the leelas, all the pastimes of the different incarnations are known as Ishanukatha. Along with the pastimes of Lord's devotees, like the pastime of Amrish Maharaj is mentioned, the pastime of Amrish and Durvasa, and the pastimes of many other devotees of the Lord are also mentioned, like the pastime of Gajendra, etc. So the pastimes of the devotees and the pastimes of the different incarnations of the Lord together combined are known as Ishanukatha. And Ashraya Tattva is Sri Krishna himself. The pastimes of Sri Krishna, who is Swayam Bhagavan, who is not one of the incarnations, who is not an avatar, but who is avatari, Ete chanch kalaha pumsaha krishnastu bhagavan swayam. The pastimes of incarnations is known as Ishanugatha. But the pastimes of Lord Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan, is not considered part of Ishanugatha, is rather considered part of Ashraya Tattva. So the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is mentioning Ashraya Tattva. Why? Because 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is mentioning the pastimes of Swayam Bhagavan Shri Krishna and not the pastimes of his incarnation. So that's the difference between Ashraya and Ishanugatha. 10th canto is considered representing the Ashraya Tattvas and not the Ishanugatha. That is how it has been explained by the Acharya. Any other question? Yes.
In the verse,
Yes. Yeah. Actually, in Ramayana, the person who is mentioned is Marich. Yeah, he is different from this Marichi. And that Marich, he is a demon by birth, and he is an assistant of Ravana. And this Marichi is a sage who is the direct son of Lord Brahma, one of the 9 Prajapatis. And regarding the Daksha, so Daksha, all these are posts actually, all these names are posts in different kalpas, different highly qualified living beings assume the posts of the 9 Prajapatis, like the post of Indra, the post of Brahma, the post of all these 9 Prajapatis. These are posts, and any qualified living entity who is very highly qualified, he becomes eligible to assume one of these posts. So in different kalpas of Lord Brahma, one kalpa means 1 day of Brahma. So in every day of Brahma, these 9 Prajapatis, they get changed. So Daksha is just a title, by the way. Marichi is also a title. And they are also names. They are also names, but at the same time they are also titles. Both at the same time. Even Atri is a name and title both. So yes, these are posts, these are names, and these are also titles at the same time. And this Daksha is the same Daksha who was the father-in-law of Lord Shiva. And this Daksha is the same who was the son of the Haryashvas and who cursed Narad Muni. It's the same Daksha here. Yeah, actually from the eyebrows, yeah. That is the exact precise description. Between the two, between the two eyebrows, from this part. Yeah. Explain what? Oh, okay. Yeah, so in Brahma Vaivat Puran, Lord Brahma has told, just in 2 minutes I will conclude. Lord Brahma has told Narada that you will take birth as a Shudra. And then Narada has also cursed Brahma by saying that Brahma and Shiva will be worshipped, but you will not be worshipped by anyone in this world. So that's why we see that Brahma is not worshipped, he was only worshipped by Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, and not by anyone else in the history. And there is only one temple of Brahma in whole universe, practically speaking. and that is in Pushkar. So that is the curse given by Narad Muni. He will not be worshipped by any living entity, and he got the curse that he will become a Shudra. So Narada had to again take birth as a son of a maid servant of the Brahmin. And that story is also mentioned in the 5th chapter of the first canto of Bhagavatam, how Narada became a Dakota. That is the curse. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare